Fambul, good afternoon and welcome to Youth Discussion on the Day of the African Child Day. We they meet you live from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation SABC TV. And me, we they present this program today, my name is William Wise. Fambul, inside the program, we can look on the team where this year the OAU Summit we don't choose and the Africa leader them, they don't choose for the Day of the African Child Day. We say leave no child behind for African development. And we all local world we can say left no picking behind for make Africa go grow and by. But for help me discuss more on this topic or this theme, I did with my colleague Samuel Touye. We there in the studio. We go tell Family Madu. Samuel, tell Family Madu.
Family, good afternoon.
Yes, Samuel, as we all know, say in June 1976, nearly 10,000 students then become on a do the march pass for Sika one great thing when the most important thing in life we na book learning when education. So take me to how you feel say this thing go match with this thing where the people become on a do for quality education because of the appetite we'll do in that time the day.
Well, if we look at the and day until now, I mean, we not say things were not the same as it is now. The vast civilization and the awareness of education by then to now is different. So there is a lot of increase in terms of great development. Looking at what they come and do for, what they fight for, the common thing with them, where some of them colleagues them die and other stuff. So now it don't different. We don't get a lot of whistle blood around for this common cause. Since then, you have to sacrifice for something for let things happen. So they did the sacrifice, and so now other African picking them. We're not to even South Africa also. Other parts of Africa, including Sierra Leone, they benefit from education for now. So we don't make increase, a significant progress with regards to that. But nevertheless, you still get bigger gaps when it comes to children's affairs, Africa-wise or otherwise. You look at other countries closely related to Africa. So it's now like we're not talking about. If you look at the theme carefully, it tells you leave no child behind in terms of development. Now we're not talking about education again. Now we still say we make progress, even though yet there is more to do in terms of education, but we still get other areas, the primary areas them as well, we just lead little education because if it has to do with their well-being, if they're not, their well-being is not guaranteed or stuff, they cannot be able to access better education, even if you provide a better education for them. Because with a sound mind, you expect a result-oriented something, not with what they are now. So we still get other areas, you talk of child labor, teenage pregnancy, human rights abuses, of this rape, a lot of we just hear all of this not cause for alarm.
Yeah, well, for second thing and the way you don't measure, so that's why the sustainable development goal way they put by 2030, the one for try for harmonize and try for reduce the kind of thing than the way they happen in Africa. Because if you look like these dancing and the inside 1976 where the young people become on a do, they watch for quality education. We see Usai nearly 2,000 of them be get killed and plenty be get injured for quality education. And now inside this new government, the new direction agenda, we don't see say the president will get a view, they talk about free education and quality one. So imagine just compare doing that thing in there to South Africa and now to Sierra Leone where we don't get this free education. How you think say this we picking them for make better use in compare to this team we say leave no child behind for better and for African development?
A very important, and I have to say now one great thing this way I look forward to this current government. His Excellency the President, now one of the key goal that during the height of the campaign, of which I don't carefully go through the manifestos because we are all part of the governance system to ensure that the government achieving goal. Your role not just ends with the ballot, ends in the ballot box. It goes along with your responsibility. How do you ensure that you support government with the programs? Then every one of us has a responsibility as citizens towards the development of the nation. But come back into your question where you ask regarding education. President Bill in agenda towards education is nice, but when you look at putting policy, we will ensure that the last children or the last child in the farthest part of this country for access to education, no matter what. Enough for be because the parents not get money,
Yes.
or so, to provide a free education, now one.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Ensuring it works, that's two. And the accessibility of it, that's three. We now not talk about the accessibility of it.
Yeah.
We still get more picking them with the insured way we see we not go school. And governments not even make effort to ensure that them picking and their right is being respected and being protected. By whatever comes what may, they must go to school.
Yeah.
You understand? So for them to access the basic education, the free education, and also the free education of ensure that it break the barrier of the parents unable to provide for picking.
And that's because that's the
This is
beginning
the
of the
big
young
thing.
for
Good.
at that time.
Good. Now, we now have to talk because primary education is supposed to be free from the beginning. We look at the rights inside the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. You find that's now one of the basic rights. That so it's not like something where you say now a government a privilege. You understand? A incumbent and a must. You understand? Now the rights for provide free education for them. But waiting with the travel talk to the US government is one for ensure that President Brigadier Mother Bill ensure that he put a policy we go with power per parent. You know the guy you put on a house or you get a market for go sell where you compete in a school. So if you want to ensure that it's accessible, make them ensure all picking as long as you do within that age for go school, then for them at school by what comes what may. Then by then we ensure that okay, this free education has been very successful within stipulated period of time.
No, look, from 1991, we they start for commemorate and celebrate these heroes them way and heroes when they die. Africa, especially Salon, we can see when they say June 16, we can then Pekin and can go to school or watch the film. So I they ask this question, waiting we na Sierra Leone for the think of them we compatriot them when they die at that time day. Because when you watch, now for just go eat, come out there and say today is June 16. And as we dey talk so, plenty people learn. Not even know say today na June. I ask some people can say, is it but today June 16 will not say anything reflect na the mind or na the guy can happen the normal setup. So we can ask, what will first commemorate actually?
Well, I'll tell you for free, it depends on the mindset of the parents. Because you mentioned like then they cook, go for free, or we celebrate the one them ways when we don't sacrifice themselves for this cause. Because without their sacrifice, you and I would not have been here to talk about June 16. You understand? Like I told you, we talk about human rights. You will mention somebody like Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela. You understand? Mahatma Gandhi, and those stuff. They all will come together. Now you talk about South Africa. Where you go talk about speaking that we come out selflessly and say no, this is not the right to go for them and they were massacred and that's now today yes we go remember them, but as we remember them, let we look at we own status of our children. How best have we take care of our children? How best do we look after them? You know, there are certain barriers with the limit picking and not just education. Do you understand? We talk of I mentioned it's not like child marriage,
protection.
you understand? You talk
Equal
about a whole
opportunity.
big things where you look at we cover the child protection and just the umbrella and cover this child marriage, teenage pregnancy, on top all of these things. How best have we tried as a nation? You understand? As parents, as government, the duty bearers. Salon I treated to the Convention of the Human Rights. You understand? How best do we ensure that all linked the laws they within inside that convention? How best do we ensure that they're implemented? They reach we melt the laws to ensure that they reach the last speaking is being protected. You go to the courts now. How many cases do we have there for children who are raped? Nothing has been pushed because you can look maybe sometimes the picking parents and get money for fast track that will go before. You understand? You go now communities and the setting of the community, not they encourage the picking for like gap up with waiting just the basic things we picking need. The setting encouraging for the picking. You find out so if you go on the streets and net, go down Lumley, go on inside town now, you see small picking and park in the street and they beg, you understand all of this. If they don't, what's they see around them, picking what they see around them, you understand? Now they gap up with it, it passive provide. So this is now one big challenge is whereas Not just government. Now this I just want to not just government. We're not all saying that government
body them also for
well in grooming up a parent, a children, the parents get a primary role for play.
Yeah, of course.
You understand? Also the government they put law we will protect and ensure that the government for ensure that those laws are being implemented and are being adhered by this by the citizen or the parents or the students or the guidance. You understand? It takes a lot. It takes a lot. Seriously, it takes a lot. You go out on the street, they are selling child labor. They are there. And if the convention protect them, government will ensure that picking on them on the street at that time for sale. They put markets in there, what and so and those picking and genuinely they say go take your plans with the parents. For can send them go school. But when they come to here, they're gonna be the breadwinner for the family. Go sell, bring Cambodia and stuff. So we look at all of these things. Why is we celebrate them and we don't sacrifice? Make we look at all of this and see how we go provide solutions. You make mention of one to talk about agenda, the sustainable development goals. Yes, Sierra we don't get Sierra Leone are part of the treat to most of these goals.
Yeah.
We have to ask ourselves why we have not been able to achieve to meet to these goals. It's a big question.
Okay, we'll come back to you. Famul, if you just join me, you're listening to a special discussion program on youth discussion, the Day of the African Child, the way they meet you live on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation TV. And as I tell you, me now William Wise and I day with my colleague here, Samuel. Today we talk on this day, on the theme especially, Leave No Child Behind for Africa Development. Yourself, with the out there, yourself and a key partner, you the parents, guardian, and anybody for make sure say we African picking them for make development, make we all day inside the development where they don't have for put that's in line with this team. So that we go no say yes, we are proud African and there we people them, there we company them where be fed long time ago. For sake of one big team on a quality because if you get picking education automatically you go know from a right from a left. But if you able to educate them, that's not the trouble. You go lead them for make you go sell coal water on the street, make you abandon because of waiting you not get education because we don't see and now we various programs and sister program when we plenty picking they abandon them. What's in the question? So that remind and bring me to this question again Samuel. We dey see from when they start for celebrate this day 1991 what thing you feel say don't change inside the life of African picking them?
Well, one the freedom of speech, the awareness, because if you talk to Peking see Peking they take action, they be moved, simple. We don't get a lot of gains. You understand? Government and CSF, the international body puts more emphasis to say that the Peking and get right for this. In Sierra Leone, to be specifics, we don't see the rapid involvement of the children to certain aspect of development, whereas their social well-being, aware of themselves. Look at a few guys that have been coming here. You yourself know from them, from the high school and this, and they do a lot of change. Advocate against certain things they want to go down well with their young colleagues, like what they mentioned, the teenage pregnancy. I know young girls from their school is we don't move about, we don't make a lot of change amongst their peers, advocating, raising awareness, bringing the real words to their colleagues. So with all of this awareness, I think there is greater change we don't see.
Because recently we see some child rights advocacy group them they come about say they want the Ministry of Social Welfare government for increase the budget that had the manual they for Sika and the Peking well-being and affairs in the country. But again, as we talk so they celebrate the Day of the African Child as Nadede station. But again the question after the celebration, waiting will lead forward, waiting will go inspire them. Or how the one for can work with this team, because the celebration can be one, as you can see. Because me, I don't want to say celebration. The commemoration we can never, but in other words, the thing can go beyond commemoration now. They celebrate. How do they celebrate? Waiting after this program, how then picking there or then people there celebrate for can include now society.
Sometimes you don't blame them.
Yeah.
You talk about celebrate. Sometimes you don't blame them. Like I told you before, picking them, waiting and seeing, and then go by. You understand? You make like you see your daddy they do something. You not got much idea towards it. You think your daddy for do better, so you follow the footsteps of your daddy. You understand? So I don't get this trick of all every day being celebrated, give a lot of speeches and forget about it. It dies like that.
Sure.
You understand? When you look at other countries, they like this. Now a special programs they need to do for picking. When a mainstream program where they last for maybe a month or a quarter. You understand? And them program then gets impact whether they create now the life of the beginning. You know, just the end of speeches and those stuff. All right, we therefore look at the challenges that we get. We're picking it undergo. How do we ensure the nation, we small number, could be able to come together? All the advocacy group here where they seen as Sierra Leone, as much as they are, and majority of them get young people there.
So somewhere
Many of them don't go through the experience. We sometimes the experience that we go to, when me and you go to, picking and now not they go to them because the weight of advocacy don't increase that will they bring things to light.
So
You
somewhere,
understand?
you know one person way done in this advocacy long term for picking them when they see you posting on Facebook, social media, and different forum there. To yourself, what do you think or how you think say we then picking them not for left behind for Africa development?
Well, the sense of awareness now one first. You get to ensure that you create an enabling environment for them. And government therefore give them that. It starts from decision making. They have to be inclusive in decision making.
Okay.
You have to get their opinion. In Africa, we get norms and tradition where they left them out of it, thinking that you are not supposed to be here and those stuff. So we have to break those barriers. You understand? Someone has to start something so that at least they start aware. When they start aware of themselves, they know that this is their right. Then they will know exactly that it has been my responsibility. I have to say this. But guess what? Picking the way they make a lot of change. You and I don't see some of them. I get one younger when I poet, you know, where they write about what's in the happen around the way you read out, you see the reality of this. It's a part of this. If you look, some of them picking out, I get brilliant idea on the big one they were in our offices, the way where they coat and the tie. Lack idea. I have experienced that because for a couple of times we don't implement programs or don't move around out of in and out, you understand? So we don't move around, don't see things them. We don't see how people they write their own resolution and send, and those things are really things where they bother them. When you listen to them, you get them involved in development. You find out, say, you know, there's some way okay design for picking, waiting picking, but if you know to picking, you allow picking for design. Get friendly discussion with them. You find out so you get the important. The issue of teenage pregnancy we talk about, so governments they get them if they picking themselves in health-wise, you know, okay. Boko people they go get better, not to say that they're willing for mistake out of ignorance and stuff and then get better. And there is no way they could abortion and those stuff we say, hey, you know, we're not legalizing in Sierra Leone and those stuff. You look men almost picking a die out of it. Maybe we see little progress for the past time and you don't create a change.
You know, we get plenty organization there waiting for this kind of thing where they talk so about teenage pregnancy. But one they ask question, are this organization doing the right thing to help reduce this menace in our country?
Well, it has been since it was like, let me just start with the secretariat. We had it, the then government thought it fit that we have to have a secretariat to be able to like discuss only issue that has to do with sexual and reproductive health. And when we go into that account, managers only do well. I have to commend this current manager for involvement so far. We don't encourage the CBOs and stuff and ensure that everybody gets a role for playing in community for reduced teenage pregnancy. And then such we don't get we not the area me you know so not the area like come and get and try to get all the picking them. They don't come, they don't navigate themselves throughout. And then we get all the support we get we want for do the work. When you talk about other organizations, the way they talk about this, let me tell you, my boy, they talk about the sincerity of this organization in doing the right thing. You understand? Some of them, they get secret funding with me, and you know they are aware about for do certain programs. But how sincere are they? How the people and when are the victims they would for target? They are not targeting those victims. At the end of the day, they will come on TV here, sit and tell you we have done this for teenage mothers and this is the good. It is not, reflects. When you go there, they see just to see the same situation happens. So it's about the level of sincerity.
Because what you make ask this question, if you imagine inside that 1976 day, then picking again the bold mind, come on at it, the match say we want quality education, where they not be the get. Then you watch now the rates of then we not getting kind of picking in there. All them we yarn for, even the parents say go they try, what them we yarn for, and for one after them bobo them.
For
make them get
yes. Like I tell you, when you are aware of yourself, you know that this is my responsibility. I deserve this. This now forget. I'm entitled to this. You do go for it. Nobody will deprive you of it. Not so. Now when they get picking the way they are aware of themselves, when they come out and speak. Now when they get young lady the way they feel saying for do something and support.
Well, that's not because you not get education, but see now we
education. The gets out from various aspects, not just in the classroom.
When you talk about the awareness, you know, say. From school, or from the start from the host you go to the school, and from there now you go to different learning place them or working place them. But if you don't get some from host, the parents no able get money for go pay for him pikin school fee, but the free education system dey, e dey fit in him, and from there so good because I can say the number nobody wey full. It depends on how you manage yourself and how your parents dey manage you for make you land to a safer destination. Because if you don't tell them this kind caliber of people, the Sarafina and the likes, then come on and do say, well, we want this kind of thing will happen. Automatically, my brother, there is progress.
If you begin on Sierra Leone now, that's very nice. You go hear a group of people tell you, see, this now one political party don't go on that they don't push them for little
Oh, is that
this now one of these two they don't do. Okay, this not in forensics they are all the dance to in the country, but Sierra Leone they make a small progress in terms of realization, civilization, the awareness, all of these things. Otherwise, we still get the same thing. For them picking and common and doing in South Africa and tell you saying that this we want, this we want, and that because they know you understand saying that this, they are aware of it. South Africa is one of the most civilized country in Africa. I want you to know that. Yes, you understand? Yes. Being ruled by the whites for over 52 years. We were there. So you find out the new system we then get is more or less different a bit from the African tradition. Okay. You understand? I mean, if you look at the level of development, it's quite different. If you go to South Africa, you know we feel to say inside Africa you there.
Okay, Samuel, this now our topic where we know we're done inside.
No, we're not go done at all.
So now time don't they close on us. If you today don't fortunate for leave, you then celebrate or commemorate this day, what kind of message you want to send to the three people and the parents, the Pekin, and the authority that we're concerned for push them Pekin and come together for make we all develop together?
First of all, I want to start with the parents. I want to call the attention of the parents to ensure that the number one person, if they're picking not just the educational one aspect, but the character would always in the quality for bring up a good child up, it starts with the parents. I want to call on the parents for see into the rights of them picking and then stop violating their rights, start to get them in decision making, inclusive part of them, you understand, and not exploit them, send them picking out in the night, stop that, you the picking cigarettes for go light and come to you picking inside the cellar room and this. All that's not called for. It's a lot we need to talk about parents, parenting. Parenting are one of the big two we lost in Sierra Leone, Africa, per se. So we call on the attention of the parent for play the role of a good parent rather than the kind of way things they go. The second, the picking them, then go for take the opportunity where they right now, and then do for ensure that one, the government got free education, two, they get a lot of awareness, sense of awareness, and three, a lot of opportunities where they are around them for ensure that they're able to tap into them so that they're able to realize themselves too. Number three, the government. The government got for creating enabling environments which support the parents for able to take care of the picking to the fullest. Yeah. The government, I want to commend the free education and would look forward for a better implementation and inclusive one where we ensure that no child left behind, because if you are educated, then you are sure to contribute meaningfully towards development. Yeah. I want everybody to know say, if you are safe in a certain community and you get picking and they were not safe, ensure that if you're picking inside safe, then you get the other around you not safe, then you get responsibility for taking care. Otherwise, you're picking yourself not safe until the last child is being safe. Okay,
thank you very much, Samuel Touye. We and my colleague, moderator for this program, here for the journey inside different youth discussion program. Well, Fambul, the brief history, as plenty people will know, but for you, don't know, on the 16th June 1976, nearly 10,000 black students in Soweto, inside South Africa, be common for protest and march for sake of one big thing where say they monitor them when the poor education when nobody get. So for sake of this, when they be common inside 2 weeks then you get the security forces will be the waitsman them at that time, then be shoot and kill plenty self be wound. Well, we don't get time for go inside more the history of this day, but we know say plenty speakers, speaker after speaker, program after program, don't kind of elaborate on this particular topic today. Well, on behalf of the producer for this program, Lucian Ganda, and me we present to my colleague Samuel, and Mula Way na the camera operator, Senesima Kaveri Way na the control room. We say plenty thank you till another time. I love you all.